Happy New Year, Warriors. How's everyone doing? Here's our tagline for this year. In 2025, we're all going to thrive. Give me a Y if you're with me on board. 2025 is a year to thrive. Okay. All right. So everyone's ready for this year. You got a great team to help you out. You guys know it if you've been around. We're going to overcome all our fear, and after we've done our work, we're going to challenge the markets, not have the markets be challenging to us. Let's flip it. Let's challenge the market. And every time we click our mouse, have confidence enough to say, okay, Mr. Market, prove me wrong. That's the attitude. Not, I hope this one works. Give me why if you're with me on that psychology. Challenge the markets rather than saying the markets are challenging. Okay. All right. So let's go to work. Dollar has made a new recovery high. Euro took out the low while EG is not making new lows. So that's a, good sign. I don't think we're there. I still think we'll trade in the 102-ish area, but let's start off with the euro here. Okay. So here we are. Pound, that 123 is not that far away anymore, is it? Okay. Dailies, you're going to have divergence. You still have divergence in euro. Look at this. Almost to the line. This looks like 102.70. Euro pound, while the euro's making new lows, looks like it's bottoming and has bottomed. And so yen has not made a new high over 58 yet. I think it will. There it is. So enough of what I think. Let's bring in the crew. We have Kman here today. Okay, no more year-end flows.
Happy New Year, Dale.
Happy
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, buddy. So now we have the January effect. And
Yes.
maybe, huh?
Yeah.
That's
I
we got
may I'm gonna
well,
call it perhaps whatever we're going to see in the next 3 weeks is the inauguration effect. I think a lot of people will start to make bets on what his orangeness may come up with once he takes back the throne. Um, yeah, but as you were pointing out, sterling, yeah, euro sterling hasn't made a new low. I thought it would actually into year end, but then also I said like be careful what happens once the year is over, and that is what we are seeing now in sterling. Um, New year, new risks, I would say for the pound, and perhaps the market is now going to look a bit more at the risks instead of at the good things in sterling for a while.
okay. You have a view on yen? It did stall at the 58 level. Can we get
Yeah.
back up there? Yields
Okay.
are lower today.
If that goes, yeah, it's all about market being a bit uncertain about on risk. I was actually secretly hoping for dollar yen to trade lower into year end to pick some up into again into the inauguration, just to take advantage of interest rate differentials. A Bank of Japan, which was a bit more on the cautious side. Yeah, but for the time being, it's risk getting sold, and the two, especially the two or even three expected weak ones, are getting hit, like the euro, the sterling, and Swiss to a certain extent. But yeah, I was hoping actually for dollar yen to be lower to start the year to try and then pick some up to play this one leg higher, and then. But I think starting 20th of January, new risks to whatever market will open.
Okay, so there's a dollar. I'd say one feature, since this was stronger than dirt all the way up, I say I'm surprised that USD CAD's not making new highs yet.
Mm,
I think it will, but it might be terminal when it does. Kind of
yeah.
looks like a triangle, or we break
Mhm.
out over, and the way to trade it is, if you want to be conservative, let it break out over this area right here, 4460 or so. Let it go wherever it wants to go. And then next time back under 464.5, you'll have a false breakout to trade. But you could see if we go to new highs, we're not going to be close to this reading at new highs. So metals, gold turned,
Doing good, huh?
yeah, gold turned, what day is today? Turned Monday.
As yeah, as we're Thursday, but as Asia walked in, it started to go up, gold. This is one period where we need to monitor again what the Asians are doing with it, I guess. We're through 30.35 on gold, 26.30.35, which is supposed to be positive. It's I'm not going to make big predictions, but I think gold should be doing well over the course of this year again, with its usual hiccups as usual. But I think as the year progresses, it's going to be a decent, still a decent low.
Gold silver ratio trying to pull back. We have two drives here.
Hmm.
Okay, I just want to point out this is pretty picture perfect. It's not over yet, but we're still diverging on the dollar here, and we're in the third drive now in the dollar. So I would stock a 109 forever, and we almost got there. Maybe it could stretch, but here you go. Here you have one, two, three. I'm going to wait till next week when everyone goes back to school,
Hmm.
right? I mean, these next couple days,
Yeah,
I don't think we're at full force until Monday.
not at all. And it's a Thursday, Friday. Some people may have lost things to do. Others shyly getting back into markets. But you're right. I think next Monday is the real start of the year, Dale.
Okay. And TLT, here's your pre-market. Um, looks like it wants to come out of here for at least some kind of bear market rally,
Mm.
doesn't it? I wouldn't be
Yeah,
short.
I'm thinking we make one more low into the inauguration, and then we can a whole new world may open.
Well, I did talk to Jim Walsh about this, I don't know, a week or so ago, after the bonds took out 89. And I said there's a level at 86 is the only other level I could come up with, which is equates to this low right here.
Hmm.
All right, that's like 85.74.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we saw that in April, May as well. Yeah.
I just noticed that. So maybe
Mm.
that's the next level. Um, anyway, that's about all I see for right now. I think it's important that the gold silver ratio is starting to top. I don't think it's done till 95. Okay, I still think that we're going to go up to test these highs up here, and that'll be the time you could, you know, lean heavily on. I think this is just going to be a good trade if you trade this, shorting the gold silver ratio up at 95. Because just like you have ideas about gold for next year, I have ideas in the gold silver ratio that this is kind of a gift, because I think we're going to trade back to where we used to in the gold silver ratio for years, which, the average was, in here was really 40, 50. So this looks still a lot like the dollar, doesn't it?
Is that silver up to $50 then,
Yeah.
or 40, 40,
No,
45?
no, it'll be over. It'll go to 50.
Mm.
So
I
that's what,
think so too, but we need a few conditions to fall in place. And you know what?
like a weaker dollar. That
For
that's
one, yeah, for
the
one. But then, I mean, I'm extremely, and I come back on inauguration day for a very good reason, is that Trump invited President Xi,
yeah.
and just imagine that things, tariffs and everything are not going to be that bad for China, and that people start to price in a bit of a China revival. Silver is trading at $40 in a flash, I think.
Okay. There was a time last year when China said that they had stopped buying gold, where there were reports they were buying silver.
Yeah, I mean,
Right? Is that
yeah,
true?
but there's the official. There's always the official versions, and then what happens, which is not taken back in the PBOC books, and I think there's many more Chinese than just the PBOC, and that's why I'm saying. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do over the next and next week as well. If we continue to see higher levels in gold once we walk into the European session or the American session, if you look at higher levels than where your close was before, I think it's a sign they're still in there, and I wouldn't rule it out, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, Happy New Year, Blake. How are you, buddy? I think
Hey,
it's
Coach,
us three.
Happy New Year
Us
to
three.
you.
Happy New Year. Looking forward to working with you and the team here in 2025. I think it's going to be a great trading year. Any ideas? What are you doing here the last couple of days of the year, of this week, before the adults get back from the Caribbean?
Well, as you pointed out, I mean, you were talking a little bit about the dollar and the dollar, how strong it's been, and it continued to rally. I mean, it rallied into year end. We've got sterling breaking lower. We've got the euro breaking those levels from November 24th, I think, as those previous lows. Now,
Yeah,
briefly, obviously, but we're breaking down. But we're seeing a little bit of sturdiness in the
Aussie.
Aussie and the Kiwi down here, which I find pretty interesting. Kman, you were just talking about Trump had invited President Xi to his inauguration, and I don't know if it's been confirmed if he's coming or not.
I heard he's sending a team, a representative team.
Okay, he's sending a
Okay.
team.
Morning,
You know,
morning, Blake. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year to you too. And yeah, and then also, another one we got to be thinking about is we got to be thinking about like the dollar mex because he invited Scheinbaum to his inauguration, and if she attends, then you got to think that maybe Trump is putting together some deals here. But if she doesn't attend, then there's maybe another signal. So those are some things that just we're thinking about as we go into this new year. But boy, this dollar has been really strong, and this breakdown in sterling has been pretty aggressive thus far as we move into the beginning of the year. So, but I can take over the charts here. I think what
Okay,
one of the
buddy.
things that has me thinking too is if you're looking over here's the breakdown in sterling, and here's the dollar mex that just stopped at what I thought was pretty key resistance last week. It's a trend line, rising trend line, but we'll see what happens, as we go into the next couple of days. But it still looks pretty strong, and it's been really underperforming. But like I was just going to say, the thing that I find most interesting right now is yields look a little toppy, and you're seeing the 10-year yield come under pressure. It hasn't helped the dollar at all, come down because the dollar and yields tend to go, hand in hand. But obviously, we're dealing with a liquidity issue, as you guys have been talking about. There's not a lot of traders in front of their computer right now, and they're not going to be until early next week. So, the market's kind of free to do whatever they want. But yields look a little, like I said, little toppy here. You got the 127% extension on the 30-year that's stalling, on the 10-year stalling underside of this trend line. and did you talk about TLT
Yeah,
yet, Coach?
yeah.
You did. So what do you think about TLT down here?
Same thing that you're thinking about in the 10-year, that there's a rally coming. I wouldn't be short down here. Maybe let's see what it does at 90, if it could rally back to 90.
Okay, it has to get back above, has to get
It's
basically.
higher today. Do you have the daily on there or the
I
4 hour?
do. You can see pre-market. We're obviously
Oh,
up 1% pre-market.
yeah. So
So
if you put the 4 hour on, it shows the candle of the pre-market. See what it's challenging here?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah,
that
there's
moving
definitely
average.
some resistance around here. You know, one of the other things when you're talking about, the markets and what's happening like with the dollar and whatnot. Um, you know, you look at the dollar index, and we were unsure if this wave, the current wave that we are in, because we've been talking about this being a wave five, and I know Jim
Right.
Welsh had been talking about it too. He was, we weren't sure if that was the wave five, but notice where we're at right now
I
today.
told them it wasn't. There was another high left.
And you know what?
Here we
We're at
are.
the long-term 618 retracement, Dale.
Yeah.
That is from the highs back in 2022 to this year's lows. We're at the 618 retracement. So perhaps this is the wave five that we're completing
I think,
here. But we
yeah.
got to see what the reaction is,
Well,
right?
if you didn't have to worry about being perfect, say you were unleveraged, okay, and you're saying, well, should I be long the dollar or should I be coming out the dollar a bit? I think that if you bought euro here at, low 103s, that, 4 or 6 months from now, I'm not in the 95 camp. I'm not even in the parity camp. So we will start getting talk of parity, which is something I said I wanted to hear the market talking about it. So we'll be hearing about that. There'll be plenty of articles about Euro's going to trade under parity in the next week or so, and that's the backdrop I'm looking for. But if you were unleveraged, I think if you bought Euro here, you bought, faded anything, maybe you're 100 pips early in this, but if you're not leveraged, 103 is not a bad level. So that's my view anyway, because I do think this is what, targets are being achieved. So, it doesn't mean right away it's a reversal, but if you're not leveraged or you use low leverage, we try and get it right to the hour, right to the day. But in general terms, probably a good time to start diversifying out of the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, and the dollar is always at risk, and Kman, you might have something to say about this too. And this is the big dilemma that the Trump administration is going to have is they're going to have a very strong dollar, and he's not uh, immune. I shouldn't say immune. He has tried to verbally express his distaste of the dollar and how strong it is. And I think the last time he did it was there's a headline in 2017. I think it was in the Wall Street Journal. So if you look at what the dollar did when he talked it down, and I don't have the exact date right off the top of my head, but if let's go back to 2017 really quick. When he did say that about the dollar, it was somewhere around here, and the dollar proceeded lower substantially after he, said the dollar was overvalued. And that was basically at the beginning of his term. I think it was in the spring. I think it was somewhere around here, like March, if I'm not mistaken. And the dollar has dropped, from there. Now, and I would expect that, or I would think that, him and JD Vance have expressed that they don't want a strong dollar. And so I think it's going to be really interesting as we head into, his presidency, what he has to
Here's
say
the
about the dollar.
Yeah, the conundrum is they want a weaker dollar, but they don't want to give up the dollar being the reserve currency because of all the advantages of that. So that kind of fights,
Yeah.
and Trump would be the last guy to want to be on, captaining the ship with the dollar losing its reserve currency status. So,
Sure.
you know,
I mean, but he is, like I said, he could just, talk it down.
yeah,
And just he did
I
that in 2017, and it's not, here we are,
Yeah, but you had
8 years later.
yeah,
So,
but you had a
yeah,
different you had a different team around him, huh? And if you start now to tariff the world, you're going to need at least Europe or so to continue to buy your products. So you may want a weaker one, but if you tariff everybody, I mean, the first result may be maybe a runaway dollar, and then the big reversal.
yeah,
yeah.
that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is possible. And one of the things that we need to probably discuss, and the other thing that we need to discuss is we're going into the beginning of January. Markets are recovering right now. S&P's up a little bit here, and looks like we're trying to make higher lows. I wouldn't be surprised to see the stock market just continue to recover into inauguration day, which the next couple weeks could that take us back above 6,000 and maybe even into brief new highs. As Trump takes office. What are your thoughts there, Dale?
I'm conflicted. There's good selling coming in here, but I covered up my shorts last week, and the only position I have on right now is I started buying some miners. So everyone knows I've been real negative the miners. I kept showing how bad they looked for the last several months. But I believe tax selling is over. And if you look at something like EXK, um, they've really gotten cheap, and people are disgusted. Even the hard money people are completely disgusted with the miners. And I like the way they look here. I'm probably early, but maybe silver still could go to 27. But I'm starting to accumulate miners, and I started with this one Monday
Well,
or
I know you
Tuesday.
guys were talking a little bit about gold, and I'd say gold pivoted really nice off of channel
Yeah.
support. I mean, this is a really really nice move off of channel support. And silver, I'd been looking at it like a head and shoulder pattern, but I kind of dismissed it because of
Oh
the
yeah.
price action. But
It
if
could
we get
be
above,
still. Yeah.
well, it could be. I would just say if it got above the 200 DMA, again,
Yeah.
I think that would be putting in some sort of significant low. Oh,
Silver and the dollar. Silver needs a bear market in the dollar to perform. You rarely have big bull markets in silver without it being accompanied by a bear market in the dollar.
well, and obviously
That's just
the dollar's
history.
been, yeah, dollar's like super strong right now into
Yeah.
some pretty key resistance.
Yeah.
One of the and that's a good note there as well, Dale. One of the other things that we got to talk about is we got to talk about crypto. It's held 92,000
Yeah. It was like a,
on Bitcoin, very very well too. I mean,
yeah.
uh, we've been looking at this level forever, and I'm just saying, if we and my analysis has been, and if you guys follow along on, in the Forex Analytix chat or the analysis on crypto here, I'm like, yeah, if we get above or get below 90,700, we should see 84, 85,000 again. But it's held up pretty well. And again, you got a lot of optimism as we have this new administration coming in that's pro crypto. So it does seem like Bitcoin can at least retain these values for a while. This is a big breakout any which way you
Yeah.
slice it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, we got to be respectful of that. Looking into next year, and since we have Kman here, Kman, what are you looking at as we go into the next couple of days? I know the next couple of weeks are probably going to be pretty important as traders
Mhm.
come back. But you have some bigger views that you're thinking of right now.
Oh, bigger views.
Yeah.
There's so many uncertainties, Blake, going into 2025, and Trump will decide upon a lot, depending on how hard he goes against other in the trade relationships, and how hard he wants to push. As you were talking about it, and Dale about a lower dollar. I think we're going to have a year. There's going to be a lot of bumps, but my base view is that we trade a bit of a higher dollar going into inauguration. Maybe wait for confirmation of what he wants to do. But I think at least during 2025, we may see a bit of a reversal and trade a lower dollar in perhaps from Q2 also. That's about what I'm looking at in the big lines.
Okay.
I hope
You
I
know,
hope it works as well as my call on the dollar yen last year, first phase of the year. We were trading at 142, and everybody was talking about Fed cutting rates and
You were right on.
Bank of Japan hiking rates, but we
right.
were at 142, and I said we closed the year higher. So I hope I have the same calls in 2025 that I had in 2024.
You will,
Yeah, I mean,
Gramps.
and that was a wonderful call. We all thought, myself included, that the BOJ was going to be a little bit more, hawkish than they were,
Well,
and they
you have to
obviously were.
start saving for your grandchild's education now, so you'll have a
Yeah,
good year, right?
yeah. Maybe I'll buy silver at 27, and if it doesn't
Yeah,
work, I just make
you'll
spoons out of it.
you'll make them go to a community college. That's all.
So, one of the other things, and I have to point out the outperformance of, these commodity currencies. I'm not convinced that they're ready to turn yet. But one of the things that the on the week ahead video, not was it last weekend? I guess it was last weekend. It's weird what day we're on. We're actually Thursday, so it's yeah. I was like, for the flows, for the year-end flows, I thought we'd see fresh new lows in the Aussie. You had this wedge pattern, and we
Yeah.
did, and then we've popped back up. I'm not convinced that it's ready to turn, but the Aussie and the Kiwi do look a little bit better today than these
Last week.
European
Oh, it
counterparts.
was.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see how the Aussie and the Kiwi can close up this week. I'm not, if you're not in the Forex Analytics chat room, you should be. We by the way, we have our annual, it's our annual, New Year's sale. We're keeping our New Year's sale prices up for a couple more weeks, because we have to wait for all the traders to get back, so they could take advantage of it. Anyway, one of the things that I was saying is I really, really want to see, the Aussie dollar back above, the uh, to convince me that we're going to be reversing. I want to see it back above 62.50, and I was just saying that in the chat room this morning. So we've got a lot of work to do. I mean, that's 40 pips away from where we're currently at, and could we see it today? Maybe, but like I said, I need some convincing here, especially
Yeah,
with the euro and sterling so weak at this point.
I agree. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I do think though that we had a couple of interesting things, and that is that bit of a reversal after the year end of Euro Aussie and Euro Kiwi. Perhaps those are the ones, if you want to be long commodity currencies or so, those are the ones to have a look at. But yeah, versus the dollar, it's going to take a bit of work. Kiwi as well, right? We need to get back above what 56, 50, 60 for it to start going again.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, look at these descending channels. I mean, they're very, very entrenched, in a very, very bearish move, both the Aussie and the Kiwi. But you look longer term, like with the Aussie. I mean, we're very close to this, 60
Yeah,
cent
we're
level.
close. We're close.
Yeah, yeah, and
Maybe
you know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Anyway, there
these
there
are
are
value
unemployment
areas.
claims. Do you care about that? Unemployment
Unemployment
claim?
claims? Oh, well, not today. I mean, data
Uh,
hasn't really mattered much, so we could open
okay.
data flash and see
Well,
what
you
the
know
data
how
is.
how much I care about data.
Well, I do care. It's just this week I don't care as much, but we do have
Okay.
ISM coming in tomorrow, which, might be a mover. I didn't mean to keep the Aussie up here, but
Okay.
uh
Claims went up. Oh, they're not out yet.
no,
Okay.
they're not out
They're
there.
looking for
Yeah.
223.
We'll see them here in a second. Looks like they're good.
Little better.
211,000.
Little better.
Yeah,
They're dropping. Yeah.
yeah, this is again good US data. We've had nonstop good US data forever. Continuing claims were revised down slightly, but look,
We've got the
just
manufacturing PMI coming out a little later. Not the main one. The ones in Europe were again on the slow side. The manufacturing sector is still not, but it's December, so I trust the market is just going to look forward now to what's going to happen.
yeah, yeah, and yeah. So we do have we have those PMIs, and that will probably continue to showcase, U.S. exceptionalism, which has been the story. That's pretty much been the story of all of 2024. And the question is that going to be able to continue going into 2025? What do you think there, Kman? Do you think that US is going to be able to keep up the pace of outperforming
At
everybody
first,
else?
yes. I think at first, yes, and then, but I've got very big worries for the rest, and again, it's going to depend on how hard it's going to stamp on trade relations, but it's I think there's a big risk for the next bit, because if you want to start to really build by American, it's going to cost an absolute heap of money, and sometimes, it could be that it takes the yields higher, but there's always an inflection point. Don't forget that some currencies weaken a lot despite higher yields. So, I don't exclude at some stage this year to find ourselves in that kind of scenario, having to spend a lot of money, having to borrow a lot of money, and but economic growth starting to falter a little bit because you can't, or you don't want to import the cheaper stuff anymore.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Dale, what are your final thoughts going into today? I don't think you have an interview, do you?
No. Well, I think the focal point for everything is the dollar, and I think that we're close to objectives. I'm looking for reasons to start fading this, and yeah, it's no secret that I've been looking for big breaks in the market for I don't know since my bar mitzvah. Um, but I'm having a hard time. I'm having someone gave me a copper stock, okay, for my bar mitzvah. Anyway, I'm having a hard time rationalizing a big break in the market if I end up, if the dollar turns, okay? In fact, I think that could be a tailwind for the melt up that people have been talking about, that there could be another melt up. I want to see how the market acts. It's been acting okay with a stiff dollar. I want to see how risk acts once the dollar is turned. And, past performances, it should be a tailwind. So we'll see. Or it's economic weakness, maybe when the dollar turns, it's not, it's more bullish for things like markets that have suffered more from a strong dollar, like emerging markets. You look at European markets compared to ours, the separation is so huge that there could be a reversion trade where maybe money starts, instead of just pouring back into Mag 7s, they start, looking at other places in the world to park money. So um, the dollar's a key to everything in
Yeah, I
my
think the
view.
dollar is going to be the linchpin. I agree with
Yeah,
that, Dale. So,
yeah.
and but it's interesting. You go back you know, let's see. This is from. Let me get rid of that. That was from the week ahead video. I have to just delete all this stuff. But you look longer term. I guess that's not a very good longer term one. I should go. just looking longer. I mean, you look longer term where the dollar's at. I guess you can go back to the 70s here, and let me move this out just a bit. I mean, the dollar is really range bound.
Yeah.
Is the dollar, ready for 120, or is it ready for, 90s again? And
Yeah, that's really it's either or. It really
yeah,
is.
it's interesting because I go to I always reference Jim Welsh, and the reason why I do that is because I meet with him every week, Dale, and you know him, and he is an
I've known him
adamant.
since he was in diapers.
But he
Yeah,
believes that the
and
dollar
now he
index is
is.
heading
Yeah,
back into the 90s. He thinks
yeah,
it's going,
95.
yeah, like 95 or 92 or something.
Yeah, I know
And I'm
some.
like,
Yeah,
that's a big ass call. I mean, you
yeah.
think about that. That's a big call.
That's a huge move in the miners and silver and everything.
Oh,
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, and I mean that would put the euro basically in the 120s. I mean, that's how big it is. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
the euro would be, you know, trading somewhere up here, 121, 125. And I
yeah.
have a hard time visualizing that. And do you?
No, because I
Really?
think it's very possible that because of how Europe feels pretty insecure right now, that China cozies up to them as we pull back from them. And that could be supportive for the euro.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Bring them into the BRICS.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then since the UK Kman is not part of the EU anymore,
Hmm.
just going to leave them out to dry. You guys are going to be left out to dry, huh?
Well,
no,
it's all a bit.
the pound will be good.
Say, come again, Dale.
The pound will rally with the
I think
pound will
so
rally
because
too. Yeah,
it's one of those allies that maybe it's not big enough to harm the US, and it's big enough to be a real ally. So he may let the UK off with one there, and yeah, I think I'm with Dale. I think in the end it could be beneficial, but there's internal issues. I think that the market maybe start to look at in the UK. And that's where again I think we could have a like a year with several legs, and it looks to me like the market wants to look at the risks now first for the sterling instead of the benefits, and the benefits may come later in the year again.
Well, and maybe that's it. It's maybe later in the year that we're looking at it. So it's going to be an interesting 2025. I am super excited about it. I've been reading a lot of like analysts, expectations, and I think it's a pretty big consensus right now that the S&P is going to have a bad year this year.
that
I think that's
bothers me too.
yeah, that is a little bit concerning that everybody feels it, but there's here I'm gonna read you guys something. This is from the Stock Traders Almanac.
Oh,
If Santa
Gail
Claus
Hirsch.
should fail to call, bears may come to Broad and Wall. Santa's failure to show tends to precede bear markets, or times stocks could be purchased later in the year at much lower prices, which maybe this is one of those years, Dale, where we do see, a sell-off, that gets us back down to like, let's say 4,800. And then,
That's what
we
I've
get
been talking about for
It's not.
months.
It's
yeah, and
it's
then we
not.
get a nice bounce into year end, and maybe we end up having an S&P that ends up being more like flat or slightly down, on the
It's
year.
it's not
Yeah,
what the banks are thinking, Blake, about having a bad year. I mean, if you look at all the banks forecast, the low was 26,
seventh.
and most and there's a lot of them expecting 6.5, 6, 7, 7,000.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
actually,
lot of them.
I was now you're at Fun Strats, Tom Lee. I was just talking. I was listening to his interview a couple of days ago, just on CNBC, and he expects 7,000 too. But
Yeah,
he's been a bull and very right,
we
and
could go
so
to 4,900 and then go to 7,000.
I agree.
That could happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah. Anyway.
AI is a big thing. I mean, I know a lot of people don't believe in AI, and they don't. I just think this world's going to look. I think it's going to look a lot different 10 years, 20 years from now, due
Oh yeah.
to AI. You know,
I'm
and
not. Yeah.
is it going to be as big as the internet was? Like, you know, and how much it's changed our life in the last 25 years. Um, Arguably, yeah. And so, this big development, I think you've got to be invested for it, but it's not gonna be a straight shot for sure. So I don't think anyway. But anyway, it's going to be a really interesting 2025. We got a lot to look forward to, and I do want to say this because I know so many people weren't listening in last week. For ForexAnalytix, we have a lot coming in, a lot in store for you for 2025. We're going to be adding some people to the team. There's the ForexAnalytix is going to be the way you access it's going to be different. There's some of you are going to be able to access certain parts of ForexAnalytix in the future. Like everybody here, it's going to benefit everybody listening in right now. So make sure you all stick around and this year. But more importantly, if you go to our website, just at the very bottom, it says subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Put in your name and email and hit subscribe. You want to do that because we have so many great things that are happening this year. And if you're not listening in every day, at least you can get an email once a week, our weekly wrap up email. Plus, it gives you our week ahead video and stuff like that. But you'll get notified on what we're up to this year, which is a lot coming. So anyway, a lot of great stuff coming in for everybody here. So
Well, I agree with Kman about having this year be epic, and it is going to be epic. There's confluence of so many things economically, geo-wise. There's so many things coming together, and it's like we're building up to some kind of crescendo. So, uh, become part of a community. If it's not here, you find somewhere else that's better. Let me know because I don't believe it. Anyway, I would check it out. So the best crew on the net to bounce your ideas off of, ask questions to. You have a discount today. So you know what? It's not about how you talk. It's about your actions. You want to be a good trader? Okay. Well, take action to become that trader, that good trader. Take action. And see you guys tomorrow, right, Blake?
yep, see you
Wrap
tomorrow.
up wrap up the week, and then we'll be back to full schedules of interviews that K-Man never listens to, but we're going to have
K-Man, you're getting harassed right now, buddy.
Peter
Yeah,
Bookfar.
what's going on? I thought you liked me, Dale.
I do like you, but I do remember hearing you say I never listen to these interviews. Anyway, Peter Bookfar. We have Steve from Ask Slim. He's a good cycle guy. We have Patrick from Bad Charts. He'll have some questions. He's going to have to answer to himself about his bullishness in metals. I guarantee you he's going to have some great charts on the metals. And again, Alexander from Who's Trend. So we're getting ready to roll again, and looking forward to. I'm planning on having a good decade this year. All right. I'm on a different time. I'm on a different timeline than you young bucks. So everyone, see you tomorrow. Trade light until everyone gets back from the Cayman Islands and have checked their offshore accounts and make sure they're okay going into 2025. And we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks,
All
Coach.
right.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
man. All
Happy
right.
New Year.
See you, K-Man. And I more than like you. I love you, buddy. All right.
Oh,
All right.
me too, Dale. Love you
All
like a
right.
brother from
We,
another mother, mate.
yeah. Anyway, join the best team. I've been around a long time. Okay. And I know people in this business. There a lot of there are a lot of barracudas and sharks out there. This is a collection of people that are very good traders and analysts, and they also care about people at the same time, not just your buck for your subscription. They want you to succeed. and they go out their way to help you do it, as well as the people that are already part of the community. So do it today. Who's going to sign up today that hasn't? Still a couple hundred in here. Anyone going to do it? That's your New Year's resolution, to become part of the Forex Analytics family. Okay. Laura has been for years. Has it helped you, Laura? You're a trader now. I think you're past your 4-year period. Absolutely. Okay. So I mean, we could throw a bunch of testimonials at you. If you want to check it out for yourself, pay $1 and come in and ask people in the chat room what difference it's made for them to be part of it. And that's it for me. That's my sales pitch. And it's not a sales pitch because I believe it. I'm not just doing it to get numbers up. I want you guys to make it. You know, I've blown myself out of the markets a few times in my career. I don't want to see it happen to you. And I know that if you're surrounded by these people, that you're going to think twice before you make the grave error. Okay? And I'll see everyone tomorrow for TGIF. Thanks, Kman. Thanks,
Cheers, Dale.
Blake.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks,
We're gonna
Coach.
kick we're gonna kick ass this year. See everyone tomorrow. Adios. You're welcome, everyone.